Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. We're going to have a little session here about collaborating and using Lync and how it's used here at NDSU in various fashions. So, with me here today, I have Becky Koch and Matt Josie, both of them in their respective areas, and when we get up into the panel, I can have them introduce themselves more formally. But talk about how they're using Lync within their respective areas and how it's impacting how they do business. So they are on the administrative or more of the staff than the academic side of the house, but it's not that Lync can only be used for those purposes. But we just want to share about our experiences and how we're using Lync. So what I'm going to do then is to start off by giving you a demonstration of what is Lync and how it's used and what the product itself entails. Do we have any Lync users in here already? Pretty much everybody? Good, good. That's one of the things that we're very excited to see with that tool, which is available through Office 365 or email calendaring system, is it allows us to connect in ways that we've never been able to connect before. In my opinion, it creates a lot of efficiencies. It's a lot less intrusive than a phone call. It's very easy to send somebody a message to get an answer to a question you may have while you're actually interacting with somebody else in person, over the phone, however it might be. You know, the same reason why is texting so popular as opposed to phone calls. You know, a lot of times, you know, is the way we communicate changing? Absolutely. Is it changing for the better? That's debatable. But a lot of times when it comes to communicating with somebody, you don't need to have a full discussion. It's just for a quick question, hey, when's dinner gonna be ready, sort of thing. You have to call and go through the whole formal, hi, how are you doing? Just calling to see when dinner, you know. It's a lot easier sometimes just to send a quick message, knowing that you can get a response at some time in the future. It's not necessarily timely. Because if it's timely, well then yeah, you call. You know, it's an emergency sort of thing. You're not gonna send an IM to 911 saying that you need help. You're gonna call. So, with that said, I'll move into the demonstration of Lync and show you some of its features. I do have to apologize up front. The video feature, unfortunately, is not working for me right now. But for those of you, I saw most of the hands go up in here that you've used it before, so you might be familiar with the video feature already. But I will talk about some of the other key features that it has. I want to make sure you guys can hear me as I go over here to control the computer. So I'm actually remoted into my desktop over in my office. And the reason why I did that was because I have my Lync set up configured in conjunction with my Outlook client. I didn't want to take the time to do that on this workstation here because, well, it's kind of just for quick demonstration purposes. So Microsoft Lync, it is a multi-platform product. And what I mean by that is that it is available for different operating systems. There's a Mac version, there's a Windows version, there's even mobile versions. So you can put it on your phones, you can put it on your tablets, both Android phones, Android tablets, iPhones, and iPads, iPods, and so forth. The product is available for all of those. In some cases, it may not be available in a respective software store, whether it's the Play Store for Google or iTunes for Apple. Sometimes you have to actually go out to Microsoft's site to download it for a specific app or your specific operating system. Not a big deal, it's out there. It just, depending on how you can get it. So, there isn't 100% feature parity amongst the different versions. And what I mean by that is you might be able to do something on a Windows side that you can't do on a tablet. I'm hoping in Microsoft, in a symposium I was on their campus here a few weeks ago, they talked a little bit more about trying to achieve that feature parity amongst the different operating systems that they know people are using their products on. They're not quite there yet, obviously there's challenges, but it is something that they're striving for. So what is Lync? Well, the biggest thing that is promoted through Lync is what's called presence awareness. And so that's basically what you're doing or what you're able to do with other people and how you're broadcasting or marketing yourself to other people. I'm available, I'm not available. I can take a call, I can't take a call. I often use Lync in a manner of if I need to call Matt for some reason, I'll look to see if he's available, because if he's not, if it says he's in a meeting, I'm not going to bother calling him because, well, he's not going to answer. Or ideally, I can just send him a message and he'll get back to me when he has a chance. Or perhaps he's got his laptop in the meeting and he's actually kind of doing he's multitasking, he's listening to the meeting or whatever it is, but he's also working on other things, so maybe he can provide me with an answer that's not intrusive or invasive to anybody else within that meeting itself. So So that is one of the things that you'll see. When you're signed into Lync, you'll start noticing in various areas of your operating system, especially if you're within Outlook, whether you're in the address book and so forth, it's going to start showing you the presence of other people or what they are, if they're available, if they're busy, and so forth. And at the same time, you're broadcasting your presence to other people as well. So you can see right off the bat, it shows you your name, obviously, and it says that you're available. Now, Lync does integrate with your calendar. So if your calendar says that you're in a meeting, Lync will represent that. If you're actively using Lync for a video conference call, it'll actively show that you're in a call or that you're busy. So that is one of the things that Microsoft, and actually a lot of other products are kind of moving to, is that integration. For those of you that were here in this room earlier today for Mark's keynote presentation, he talked about mobile devices and how everything is meshing together. Everything is communicating to each other, to ourselves, and we're broadcasting ourselves to each other, both on the consumer side of things in your home, but yet also in your office. And a lot of the stuff is overlapping. So the Lync client itself has, I would say, 3 main capabilities. You can use it to chat, you can use it for video, and you can use it to collaborate and share content among either one person or multiple people. So in ways that you can do that shared content is either through an actual meeting, which Lync does allow you to schedule meetings in the future, or just have at spur of the moment meetings. Somebody might call you up and they're having difficulties with the spreadsheet or whatever it is. I know that's a feature that Matt will probably talk about a little bit here, is that if you have to show somebody how to do something, for those of you who have ever tried to walk somebody through something on a phone that you can't see, unless you're really familiar with exactly what it is they're looking at, it can be very difficult, because you've got to rely on them to relay back to you what it is they're seeing, and maybe they're seeing something you haven't seen, so how do you work around that? Well, we are now at a point in time with technology that we can just instantly share our screens, and it makes efficiencies possible that were never there before. So, as I mentioned, Lync integrates with our email and calendaring system in your Outlook. So basically, just like you have an address book within our email and calendaring system, you've got an address book, that same address book within Lync. So to find somebody, it's as simple as just starting to type their name. And as you can see here, I have some frequent contacts, people that I regularly visit with, and I've also set up some groups. So I frequently, part of my job and responsibilities with the help desk, so I've got a lot of the key help desk people added to a group that I can quickly choose and communicate with. And by grouping people, you can also broadcast to an entire group at one time. So maybe you want to tell everybody in the office that you're headed out to lunch because you've got a process in place that you want to make sure that there's always 1 or 2 people around. Well, you can just send a message to everybody, hey, I'm taking lunch at 12:15. Instead of going to each individual, you can now do it with a single click and a single message. And then it also allows all those people to collaborate back and forth in that same window and comment on, yep, I'm going to be gone too, or nope, I'll be around, sort of thing. So to find somebody you haven't pre-populated into a group, it's as simple as starting to type their name. And now with Becky, you can see here, since her calendar currently reflects that she's in a meeting, it's instantly showing me her status. Before I've even opened up the chat window, I know that she's in a meeting. And the same thing can be had if I'm actually in the Outlook client, and if I go over to the address book, and if I do a search this way as well, I can see her here, and if I actually open up her contact card, I'm presented with an action button. And it tells me right off the bat that her status is red, so I know that she's not currently available. If I click on that, I can see what options are available to me in a little bit more detail. So she's in a meeting, she's busy. But at the same time, through Lync, I can either send a chat message, I can do a video call, just right from this window. I don't actually have to go anywhere else. I can just initiate that conversation, that video call, right from here. So that's just how it kind of integrates into Outlook. But going back to the Lync client itself, it's a simple double click and it opens up a chat window. And so I can easily say, hi, in which Becky then will receive on her Lync client. For those of you who've used it, you know it's flashing down on the bottom. But again, it's not intrusive. If you're busy, your face is buried deep into a stack of papers, whatever it might be that you're trying to get through, you can get to that later. But yet, it's so a lot of people say, well, it's like email, right? Well, it is, but it isn't. Email has evolved, has kind of become one of those things. I liken it to my mailbox in front of my house, right? I check it maybe once a day. No, I check maybe more frequently than that. But you get the idea that email is something that when you get a chance, you go look at. And you may not do it because, well, if it's something critical or important, somebody will call me. I'll get to email later. I'm busy doing other things. So, Lync and IMs kind of fit in kind of the in-between area where it's there, it's more of a personal, way of getting in touch with somebody without just dropping something in their inbox that could get lost with all the other day's mess. So once I'm within the chat window, Becky responded back. And you do have some basic features that you can initiate right from here. So I can easily start sharing a program. I can initiate a whiteboard. So you've got academic or even collaborative options available right from here, either one-on-one or in a group setting. Now, if I want to add more people to this window, easiest way to do it is just to start search for your next person. And I like the fact that it autofills. I mean, you can just start partial names, especially if you don't know how to spell somebody's name. But let's say I want to add Matt to this discussion. All I need to do is drag and drop. And now you can see Matt will now have a flashing icon on his screen, and he can start collaborating, communicating with us as a group. And we can keep adding people. So, geographically, distance is no longer a barrier for collaboration. And now, if I wanted to share something out, they would both see it. So maybe I can have Matt, could you share out something from your screen, and we can kind of see how that works. So Matt is getting the same options that I have here, which is when you go to share something, you can share your entire desktop. You can choose a particular program, which is probably the most common way of doing it, because you might have other stuff up on your screen that you don't necessarily want other people to see. It might be HIPAA, FERPA, or some other kind of content that is not public or you don't want other people to see outside of yourself. So you can choose a specific program and just share that. Let's say it's Microsoft Word. In this case, I've seen Matt has initiated a sharing request, so I can go ahead and accept that. And then right away it opens up the content pane where I'm going to see the actual application. In this case, it looks like Matt shared his entire desktop. So now if Matt's giving us training perhaps, so now I can stay at my desk, receive the training, multiple people can receive it. And the other neat thing about Lync is that while we're doing this, there are recording options. Again, I'm kind of having some problems, so I don't see the recording options, but you can record these presentations, these interactions, for later use, for other viewing. Maybe you had an employee who couldn't make a meeting, but yet you covered some content, you did some training. This is something they can review at a later date and time. So that in itself is a huge efficiency when it comes to not having to go through the same motions and take up multiple people's time to deliver the same content over and over. When you're actually sharing content like this, Matt shared it, so Matt's in control. I can't actually manipulate his desktop. He can grant me control. I can simply request it as well. Up here in the corner, I have an option to request control. At the same time, Becky could have control. So when it comes to presenting, and I've been in a lot of web meetings, and many of you in here probably have as well, where you'll have multiple presenters who do different parts of a presentation or training, and they just pass the presenter role to other people that are connected in from multiple places all over the country or the world. So we have that same capability through Lync, which is huge and powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and request control here. And as you can see, since Matt shared his whole desktop, he gets a little note up on top that says that I've requested control, at which point he can grant it to me. And now, I should, for example, if I click on his start button, I can manipulate his computer. So from a help desk and an IT perspective, we do a lot of this to support people. Now, historically, we've had to go out to other products like WebEx or Remote Desktop, and it involves, go here, go to this website, put this code in, click that, yep, install that, yep, now I'll say, okay, yeah, it's this, wait a minute, we'll get there, we'll get there. This is a lot quicker. It's that just-in-time training, that just-in-time support. It's a huge efficiency, and in my opinion, it's a huge customer service benefit. I mean, it's people calling because something's not working. They don't have all day to wait to get help. They, are often perhaps in a classroom, on a conference call themselves. They have deadlines, so if we can turn things around and help you immediately without making you jump through hoops, that's our goal. So for the most part, that is the key things about Lync when it comes to communicating with other people. Again, you can do group broadcasts, you can do individual, you can manually change your status, so you can say that I'm not available, even though your calendar might have you as available. And the last thing I wanted to show you here with the demonstration is the meeting part. Now, Lync allows you to schedule meetings with anybody. It doesn't have to be other Lync users. For anybody who's used like Microsoft meeting products in the past where you can send a link to people and they can join a meeting, same thing with Lync. And this is actually where Microsoft is moving. They're kind of getting rid of their old legacy meeting systems and services, and they're moving to like the Lync-based one. But all I can do, or all I need to do is, let's say I want to say here on Friday at 11 o'clock, I want to schedule an online meeting, and maybe it's with partners across the state, the world, people outside of NDSU, people not within our email and calendaring system. That's perfectly fine. All I need is their email address. It'll send them a link. At the time the meeting is ready, they click on it, it logs them in, and they can collaborate, share applications, contribute IM, video, the whole 9 yards. They don't even have to be within our system. So to do that, and this is kind of a button that most people don't even know is there, is it's a new online meeting. You simply, like you would schedule any other meeting, choose your date and time, add your recipients, and it adds the meeting information right into the notes that get emailed out with the invite. So regardless of where this person is, as long as they have decent internet connectivity, they can click that link and it'll take them right into the online meeting. So, yeah, I mean, it's neat. We are excited to see more and more people using it, and I think it's a huge efficiency. So, really, kind of, it's a demo in a nutshell. Kind of a quick overview of the things that you can do with Lync. Microsoft does have some new versions slated to come out here in the future, which I can only imagine are just going to get kind of more feature-rich, allow for more seamless collaboration. Oh, I should also mention, it's great for file transfers. All you need to do is drag and drop a document into that window. And if I were to do that with Matt or Becky, they would receive a link that says, accept file. So it's much quicker than email, especially if it's a large file. Let's say it's 10 or 20 meg. That might take a little while to get through email. In some cases, it bounces back because it's too big. Lync is a very convenient way for transferring files amongst us within the university. Now, that kind of feature and capability is only available to other Lync users within our email and calendaring system. So let's say you have a friend that works out at a different university and they have Office 365 as well, and they're on Lync. Can you talk to them? No. Now, if there is a legitimate need for the two businesses to collaborate in that sense, there are options. It's called federation, where we can say our instance of email and calendaring, we want to be able to talk to this instance over here. And so we can share calendars, see free busy time, and that sort of thing. So that is an option. This is a university system hosted and provided, or I shouldn't say hosted, but provided service. So we would have to make a business case to them to say we want to be able to collaborate in that manner with Concordia, let's say. Now, if it was a legitimate reason to do so, they probably would do that. Now, if anybody has those sorts of needs, feel free to share them with myself, and I'll be more than happy to take that on and see if we can get that done. But usually it's a case of if it's a one-off sort of thing, I occasionally talk to this person, we're probably not going to get a lot of traction. But if it's a university, especially tri-college, things like that, where we might be doing a lot of that collaboration, it's definitely something that we can look into. So, with that said, any questions about the demonstration? Yes?
How do you activate the video part of it?
Okay, if it were working on my computer, which I really apologize that it's not. It was working just fine earlier. I rebooted my computer before I left, and I wonder if that didn't mess something up. But if you start a chat window, oops.
And I guess I was just thinking more along the lines of if you're doing a meeting.
Yep.
And you're sending that you have everyone's email address.
Yes.
And everyone has their webcam set up. Is
Sure. So what everybody's window will look like, whether it's me or Becky or Matt, is it's the exact same view that you're seeing here. It's just this. And all you need to do is go to video.
Okay.
And in this case, I get an error because my webcam's, the microphone's not working, which is why I won't let me do it. But all you do is click on video and start video call. And if I do that, it'll share my video. It doesn't share everybody else's video. They have to manually say, I want to share my video as well.
Okay.
And then when you do that, you can see other people's video. You can bring them to the forefront and things like that. So yeah, it's just as simple as click and say.
Squares of each of them at one time or no?
I've never done it more than like 2 or 3 people
At once, okay.
for video.
Sure.
I'm not sure how you can set that display up, but I know that you can.
I think it's one person big and then the other smaller below it.
Right.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, gotcha.
So,
Perfect, thank you.
good
Whoever's
question.
speaking big,
Right,
obviously,
the presenter, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, any other questions? Yes.
Are students online?
Great question. So, as part of the announcement, sorry, what? Oh, so the question was, are students on Lync? As part of the university address that the president made 2 weeks back, he did state that he wants to see NDSU manage their own email system. As things currently sit, we have an employee, a tenant, which is with the other employees across the university system. It's the one that most of us are in if we're an employee, not a student. Then there's the student instance of Office 365. Now, the university system has had a goal for a while to put everybody in the same tenant, so we have that sort of collaboration where anybody can chat with anybody, we can see everybody's calendar sort of thing. Well, with us managing our own email, we will have the students and employees within the same tenant, or in a way that we will have that collaboration. So one of the things that I think is neat, and I'm waiting for somebody to do it and tell me it's happened, is for an academic advisor or an instructor to have online office hours, where they may not physically be in their office from 2 to 4 o'clock to answer questions for any of their students in their classes, but to actually say, I'm available by Lync. Feel free to chat with me or video chat with me. Maybe they're at home, maybe they're traveling, maybe they're at a conference. They still, their students are important. They still want to be able to answer those questions, but they can't physically be there. But now they can by way of Lync. So I'm waiting for somebody to do that. But of course, we have to get the students into the same tenant so that we can have that. That is the ultimate goal, and that is where we want to go. So, any other questions? Yes?
Just not really related to Lync, but when that happens, when NDSU starts managing its own email, will we still have the relationship with the other universities?
Yes. Well, ideally, yes. That would be our goal. And we would do a similar thing where we would do federation or have that relationship between us and ideally every campus. So yeah.
So this isn't an NDUS thing that's being rolled out, or is it NDUS?
So the email and calendaring system we currently use, Office 365,
Yep.
is through the university system. Yep.
So Lync is too then?
Yes, Lync is a part of
okay.
that service.
Oh, okay. You probably said that, I just missed it.
No, that's okay. Any other questions? Well, I think I'll have Matt and Becky then have a seat up here and go over some questions, and obviously take more questions as we go. So if anybody has questions as we're discussing this, please feel free to raise your hand and we'll definitely address them. So what I will have them do is just go ahead and introduce themselves and maybe just give a brief description of what it is you do here at NDSU.
I'm Becky Koch, and I don't think it's on. Is it? Is it muted? Got it. Thanks, Steve. I'm Becky Koch. I'm the Director of Ag Communication based over in Morrill Hall. We provide communication support for the NDSU Extension Service, North Dakota Agricultural Experiment Station, and somewhat the College of Agriculture, Food Systems, and Natural Resources, doing news releases, graphics, video work, print and copy services for the entire campus. I know I'm forgetting stuff, pretty diverse.
My name is Matt Shosey. I'm the Technical Services Manager for the Division of Finance and Administration. My role is to provide technical assistance for all the functions of the division, which includes VPFA accounting, the budget office, Center for Child Development, customer account services, facilities, grants and contract accounting, HR payroll, purchasing, university police and safety, and then we also assist the Student Loan Service Center. So it's quite a diverse division.
And then I'm Steve Sobiek, IT Help Desk Manager and also Acting Executive Director of Enterprise Computing and Infrastructure. So if you could, and I'll pipe in as well, what communication challenges do you face and what strategies do you use to collaborate and stay connected?
In the Division of Finance Administration, some of the biggest challenges that we face, while we do have roughly 500 employees, when you pare that down to the actual administrative employees, there are roughly 100 administrative employees. That's across all of those departments that I'd mentioned, and that's supporting roughly 6,200 other employees in direct services, as well as providing services for the NDSU as an organization. In addition to all of the services that we provide, both direct and indirect to students, if you want to go to the next slide, we're actually spread we're spread out pretty far across campus. You can see the highlighted buildings are all of the buildings where Division of Finance and Administration has a presence. And through those spread out locations, we're serving every single building on campus, as well as serving individuals who are located remotely across the state from an administrative standpoint. So we're really spread out across campus. The constituency that we're serving is really spread out. We additionally need to collaborate with other institutions within the university system, and we do a lot of collaboration with the system office itself. And along with a lot of the other divisions, what we really need to do is find a way that we can leverage technology to stay connected more efficiently.
I think my map's next. I'll challenge Matt here. Just across campus is a challenge enough, but obviously with the Extension Service and the Research Extension Centers, NDSU as a land-grant university serves the entire state. And so every place you see a dot or a square on here is an NDSU office. I hope you all realize that. We truly are the land-grant university serving the entire state, so we have staff at all of these locations. So it's truly a challenge to communicate with them, either just a question or training or collaborative work or whatever, which we'll give some more examples here in a minute. And even though, you know, I might have to connect with Andrea in Bowman County, I'll admit that sometimes I get lazy and just next door say, hey Sonia, you got a minute? Can I come over? So it helps tremendously for both distance and locally. But our challenge obviously is the communication and collaboration with our NDSU faculty and staff all across the state of North Dakota.
From my perspective, within the help desk and within the division of IT, we have people spread across multiple locations. In some cases, we have people who are actually all in offices doing support, fixing computers, whatever it is. So we have people who are providing different types of support to different people in different locations, not as spread out and to the extent as Becky or even Matt, but we have people across the division that we do need to routinely stay connected with. And for us, providing support to you, as I mentioned before, it's timely. We don't want to take a lot of time to get an answer, because if it takes us a while, that's just longer it takes for us, because we might need that information before we can do other things. So that's just compounding the amount of time that it takes to provide support, answer the questions that we may be getting. So mostly it's interdepartmental for us. Whether the person's right next to you and you're sharing a link or a file, because, well, this day and age, most URLs are nice and long and you can't exactly read them off, and email's not timely enough. So we do some extensive communication, even though the person might be shoulder to shoulder to you. But you know, from within the IT division, we have a presence in the library, we have a presence in Berry Hall, and we are also in the main campus here in the IX. So we do a lot of communicating amongst ourselves during regular and outside of business hours actually too. So Matt, Becky, how do you use Lync to overcome challenges and communicate and collaborate effectively across these distances?
And actually, if you want to advance to the next slide here, I had sent out a survey to the heavier Lync users within the Division of Finance Administration. Currently, the primary usage for Lync, well, it's being, by those that are using it, it's receiving a lot of usage. 2/3 of the people using Lync are using it multiple times every day. And on the next slide, the primary usage right now is instant messaging, and there's a little bit of screen sharing that's also going on. As far as from what I've been doing personally, I do quite a bit of instant messaging. I also do a lot of screen sharing and doing the requesting control from individuals, and it's really invaluable when I'm trying to figure out exactly what's going on someone's system. We have an Excel users group that I've been heading up within the division where we'll go through a complex topic in Excel, and then people get back to their desks and they're trying to remember, well, how did we do that? We didn't do that with my data. I don't understand how to apply what we looked at in this class, in the class, to what we're currently doing. And rather than me going over there or having to set up a time where we can meet, if I'm available via Lync, I can show them those exact steps or walk them through how they can do those steps so they're actually doing that with their own data. And to be able to get that kind of hands-on experience with someone kind of guiding you through that process is just very valuable. It helps solidify the learning process. And I found that that's really valuable from a training standpoint. Other uses that I've used it for is just checking availability. Suppose that I need to chat with someone from accounting, but I don't. There are multiple people that could answer my question. I can just at a glance be able to see those people that are using Lync. I can see who is available, so I can determine who I need to check with. It eliminates a lot of times eliminates playing voicemail tag, which is actually one of the responses that we'd received when I sent this survey out. There are countless numbers of times that I've used screen sharing to help assist someone with just a minor setting change on their computer or a minor software issue, and it's turned what would have been a 30 to 45 minute trip going across campus and showing them that issue, coming back to my office, getting back into what I was doing. Instead of that amount of time, I'm spending maybe 5 minutes providing that assistance. Others in our division, I know that Lori in the department in facilities uses it pretty extensively to assist with troubleshooting FAMUS, the I believe project management system that we use over there. A lot of people are using it for determining availability as a precursor to an initial contact, seeing might someone be available for a telephone call. I know that Shelley Lura up in HR uses it pretty extensively for assisting with people admin. So if people have questions with how that ancillary system is working, I know that a lot of offices across the state need to use people admin, and she's the only contact person, and to be able to go in and show them exactly what's going on and identify. Recently she had an issue where there was an individual that could not get people admin to work. It just was not working. She asked what browser version he was on, and he said, oh, I'm on the latest version of Internet Explorer, which is what you're supposed to be using. And she said, well, let me share, why don't you share your screen with me? And she did that and saw that he was on IE6. And it was all of those, there's all kinds of information that you can gather from doing one of those screen sharing sessions that if you have someone that doesn't have that prerequisite knowledge for knowing exactly what's version of a software they're on, and you can see that at a glance, and trying to troubleshoot that, as Steve would know, via the phone and you're not seeing anything can take minutes that you may never get there. And it's just such a valuable tool for us.
Really valuable for NDSU agriculture too. Again, Experiment Station and Research Extension Center spread across the state especially. One of the things we talked about is, does it save travel time? And I would say probably not travel. The reason we're using it wouldn't even be worth a drive, but it's saving a heck of a lot of phone calls and a heck of a lot of time, I think. It was exciting. I asked staff in an email, you know, give me some examples of how you're using Lync across the state. But just yesterday when I sat down at lunch, I asked my table, so I have to do this thing on Lync, give me some examples. And I was pleasantly surprised with how many faces lit up and what they were telling me. So just a few examples. The state specialists who are here on campus or the area specialists at the research extension centers are doing quite a bit of training for county-based extension agents across the state using Lync. They can pull up their PowerPoints, they can talk through it, they can take questions back. I know what I like about it is I don't want to interrupt the speaker, so I type in my question in the chat box, and that's a wonderful feature of Lync. Ironically, what most people said they use it for is they just IM someone and say, hey, are you there? Do you have a minute? Can I talk to you? I want to bounce something off of you. Sometimes they continue the conversation in Lync, but as much as anything, it is that, hey, do you have some time? Even if it shows green that, yes, I'm there, I know what I do in my own department. We're not all that spread out, but a little bit. We've got 2 AgCom staff over in IAC, a couple on the first floor, which you wouldn't think that would be that far away, but even, like I said, a colleague across the hall, she will just IM me and say, hey, do you have a minute? Can I come over and visit about something? And I'll say, let me finish this project. Give me 10 minutes. And somebody else said, well, you still got interrupted, but it wasn't enough. My response is, I'm a mom. I'm used to that quick interruption. I can tune it out really quick, but I can stay focused on the project I'm really working on. I can just say, hey, get back to me in 10 minutes. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So I love it for that, even just with somebody across the hall. Some other examples that staff have told me, especially from across the state, where again, maybe they would have to travel, but maybe they couldn't, is writing grants collaboratively. Pull up the document, pull up the form, share it, just actually write it together. A grant application, a report, anything like that. The collaborative work, and again, I'm not like Steve and Matt where you have to do troubleshooting, but that collaborative work across the state between staff is just huge for us. So I was thrilled to hear that. And even editing journal articles. I'm glad I don't have to do that, so I would never have thought of that one. Editing journal articles together. Quite a few of us took part in 7 Habits of Highly Effective training a couple months ago, and we were each paired up with a partner to follow up with. And somebody said they were meeting regularly with video on Lync to check in with their partner. So I thought that was a wonderful example too. So again, we use it more for the collaborative work rather than the troubleshooting. Like I said, I don't see it saving that much travel occasionally, but mostly it's saving phone calls. I truly think it's already replacing Blackboard. In fact, I'm the first one to say, can't we use Lync? It's so much easier, simpler, not as complicated. I think it's more dependable than Blackboard, and hopefully I didn't offend anybody there. But I like it better than Blackboard, and I can already see it replacing the Polycoms on the interactive video network. We just spent thousands and thousands of dollars on Polycoms, but our staff are making the switch. And so now I'm going, oh great, we just spent all this money. But I really think Lync is so simple that people are moving to it fairly quickly, and I was taking notes as Steve was talking because I have an email newsletter that needs to go out to our staff next week, and guess what the feature story is going to be? To try to get even more people on Lync, since it is so useful for NDSU agriculture that has people spread all across the state.
Yeah, thank you, great. I will say that Lync, as opposed to Blackboard, they have their uses.
Oh, yeah.
You've got people who are in Blackboard more routinely. That's its niche. Will Lync replace that academic piece? No. But can it be used as a tool to achieve efficiencies, to make yourself more available, to reach out in different ways? Absolutely. So that's something to keep in mind with any of the services and technology we have. Is it's a tool, it's a resource. Do you have to develop your business and academic processes around it? No, but you should try to integrate it, think of efficiencies. And that's really what it comes down to, is saving time, because, well, we're not a for-profit center, so you know, it's not we're losing money or gaining money, but our time is what our money really is to us. And if you have more time, you can better serve our students, you can better serve your departments, you can better serve the business as a whole. And that's really what we're all about, is efficiencies and collaboration. So,
Steve, I should have clarified. We don't do the academic part, so you're right. Blackboard is still very, very important. It's just the Blackboard Collaborate that we used to use for meetings, so I'm sorry I didn't clarify.
Well, no, yeah, and I totally understand what you're saying. So often we have a resource out there such as Blackboard. It provided features that we don't have anywhere else. And we get very creative, and we try to gain efficiency, so we might often use something in a way that it wasn't intended, or for a different purpose. For, you know, well, you know, it's academic, Blackboard's academic, but if we could use it to do this, we could save this efficiency, or you know, whatever it is. But it's not the way the tool may have been intended to be used. It worked, but it may not work as well as something like Lync, which is actually intended for those purposes. So that's something to keep in mind. And what we often do that in technology is, yeah, but what if we can use it for that as well? It may work, but there may be a better tool that comes out in the future. Microsoft does have standalone products that they're looking at deploying soon to compete with the Polycom, the IVA networks. They actually do have units. I saw a demo of them. I mean, it's literally a box that sits underneath of a TV, and it's synced to the calendar of the room. And as people schedule the room and add into other locations or other rooms, it automatically fires up the meeting. And so it's achieving the same functionality as the IVA and the video networks. It's just Microsoft's competing and integrating into Lync so that you can do things seamlessly, that you're not going out here to schedule this and going over here to start the video. You're doing it all in one. Again, it's kind of like Mark Wallman was talking about earlier, that integration to make ourselves more efficient and seamless in our day-to-day activities. And I can start with this one. What is our vision for using Lync going forward? Well, within IT, Matt really had a key thing that he said that I didn't even think about, but I use it all the time, is if you have a question that maybe multiple people within a department could answer. Who's available? Do I start phone number 1? No answer. Phone number 2? No answer. Phone number 3? No answer. Instantly through Lync, I can see who's available, who I should call first. I'm not probably going to type out a page about some student who's unable to use the following, and I need to figure out what's going on so I can take that information, go back over here. I'm going to call them, but I'm using Lync to figure out who I should call. We frequently do that with instructional services. We have faculty call in who have advanced questions about the grade book or deploying a test or whatever it might be. Now, at the help desk, we're very good about fixing errors, problems, something's broke. But when it comes to some more of the advanced features of a product, or like the gradebook within Blackboard, we're not necessarily the experts. We have base knowledge, but we're not the experts. And so what we want to do is put you in touch with that expert. And Lync allows us to see which expert's available to get faculty and staff the immediate support that they desire. So, and then that's huge. So going forward, I really see that just expanding to other areas, other departments, hopefully other organizations to a degree. Maybe within IT, we collaborate quite a bit with the university system. They're all within Lync, great. We collaborate quite a bit with ITD, the state IT department. We actually do have a federation, or no, we don't. We're looking at setting up a federation there. So how great would it be that if we're talking about a statewide network outage or impact or change of service that's going to impact all of you, how great would it be for us IT staff to easily be able to ask questions or get updates from them by way of Lync, especially when things are down and broken, everybody's scrambling around. The last thing you want to do is pick up a phone and figure out who do I need to call. Right away through Lync, you could have a group set up, you can send out a quick update, it goes to all the key people, done. And again, it's much more timely than email. A lot of people have asked me, aren't you afraid that you're going to get bombarded with questions and calls, especially if we're in IT, people see your name out there, I've talked to you before, I'm not going to call, I'm just going to start messaging them. You know, to be honest, we really haven't seen that. The people that message me directly are the same people that would have called me directly anyway. So it's not like it's not worse, you know, and that is a lot of fear that, oh, if I'm online, everybody's just going to hit me up all the time. I don't know, people seem to be, to not do that. They seem to handle it well and treat it the same reason why if you went to call somebody, you know, out of the blue and hit somebody you never talked to before, you're typically not going to do something like that with Lync unless you know specifically that person maybe deals with that or they've advertised that I am available this way. If nothing else, you're using it as a tool to see if they actually are available. You're not necessarily sending a message, you're just using the present side of it before you call them up. So I really see us expanding our uses of not collaborating, but supporting and interacting with other members of the campus to not only support them, but to get the information we need to support others. So I hope to see, from an IT perspective, more of the federation with other institutions. There are some capabilities of going out beyond Lync to other chat mediums such as Google Talk. So we might have other key players out there that are using Google Talk in their institutions using Google Talk. We can do a federation of that. So even though they're not on Lync, we can still have that communication. So I really hope that we continue down that direction and just interact in more positive, efficient ways with other universities and entities. So.
My first vision would be to get everybody to download it. To be honest, especially our off-campus folks, it's part of, and correct me if I say anything wrong here, it is part of Office 365, but it's a separate download. So I don't know how many times I've emailed it out, provided the link, all you do is click here, and you know, it's a very basic download, but some people are like, you know, I just didn't get around to it or whatever. So my first goal is to have everybody have it downloaded. And I've only heard this from one person, to be honest, but he said he turns it off first thing in the morning. Yeah, it pops up, but he doesn't want everybody knowing if he's available or not. And I'm kind of going, I think that might be an administrative discussion, so I'm going to bring that up to some other folks. But the vision for me is mostly training and being a good model and mentor and sharing with people how this can be an efficient use of their time, how it can improve their lives, how it can make their work easier, and especially, again, the collaborative work. So just being a model and a mentor and sharing the word within our folks who are spread out all across the state on how it's one more tool that can really support the work that they do together and with others.
Yeah. And that would be the same for the Division of Finance Administration. There was some really strong interest in using Lync more for meetings, and actually I was really glad to see the online meeting feature because I wasn't aware that that existed. I know that's a feature that we will definitely have some use for within the division. I'd like to see more people get comfortable with using the screen sharing and remote access. And eventually I'd like to really get involved with, or start doing more of recording screen sessions, especially if it's a particular technical troubleshooting thing that might be useful for other areas. If I can record that session and make it available to our area or somewhere else that I know may run into a similar issue, being able to actually show that process rather than having to re-explain it to someone else, it is really an advantage to have that resource there, but then be available for follow-up if it's needed.
Questions? Yes, Nate?
Not so much of a question, but for Becky, eventually, once people move up to Office 2013, they won't have to download Lync anymore because it's part of the Office Professional package.
Awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can repeat that if anybody didn't hear it.
Oh.
The newest version of Office 2013, includes Lync as part of the installation. And that is the newest Lync product, which has a few different features, and I think is a much cleaner looking product. So, but yeah, for those of you who are eventually going to upgrade or have already upgraded to Office 2013, that will be available to you.
And you guys have to realize I am one of the least technical people around. So my response to a lot of staff is, if I can do this, you can do this. So, you know, the 213 and everything, it's like, okay, fine. If I can download it, you can download it. But if it's already there, no excuses. Thanks.
Steve?
Yes.
With the mobile version versus the desktop client, if you're using both at the same time, there's sometimes a discrepancy between the messages when you see a mobile device versus desktop. best advice to help people work around those problems?
So what David's referring to is that you can be signed into Lync from multiple locations, perhaps 2 computers, perhaps a computer and a mobile device. So I am signed in at my office computer right now, and I can easily sign in here on my phone as well. So what happens if somebody sends me a message? Now, the behavior depends on several circumstances. What I would recommend, I'll just say right up front, is that if you're going to use it on a particular medium, a mobile device perhaps, sign out of it if you're not actively using it. If you're not expecting somebody to send you a message, don't be signed in. It's kind of counterintuitive. I guess what I mean is that if you start a chat session from a mobile device, the response will come back to that mobile device. Now, the problem with mobile devices is that they often, for power saving needs, go mobile, or they go into a power saving mode, which actually cuts off the data connection. It'll periodically wake itself up and check for new messages, updates, things like that. But if your device is not currently syncing or looking for any new information, that message somebody sends to you is going to go to wherever you're primarily signed in with an active connection, which is typically your desktop. Now, if you're actively using it and not letting your device go idle, then it's fine. The messages will come to you, and they'll actually show up at both places. So I have heard some frustration in that, so my recommendation would be, if you need to sign in to chat with somebody quick, do so. But if you're not wanting to make yourself permanently available and pick up messages all the time, and your phone's going to be off, the screen's going to be off, it's going to be in the holster, whatever it is, would be to sign out. Now, ideally, with changes and improvements to the product itself, changes in the way that we connect, perhaps that'll change in the future, but that would be my recommendation now. Any other questions?
I just have a comment. We use our IM or our Lync for instant messaging, and I'm kind of away from the front, but close enough to be helpful. So if the receptionist is busy and the backup people are gone, she can shoot me an IM saying, "Help!" and then I know to come around the corner and go up and help her. So our whole department is on it every single day.
Good, and that's what I hear. I mean, I think that's awesome. I really do. We've been using various forms of chat clients in the IT world for years and years and years, even before most of it was mainstream. I remember a product, for those of you, ICQ. Old chat medium. We used that because, it had a niche. It filled a void. We were easily able to share information back and forth because we're all on phone calls. I can send back, I can ask questions, I can send links, whatever it may be. And, well, not everyone was on ICQ, and it was a clunky old product, but it met the need at that time. But, yeah, things are evolved, and it's neat. It really is a digital world. Any other questions?
Is there any talk about connecting it with the phone system so you can tell if they're on the phone or some of those other things as well?
Lync does have those capabilities. I can't speak. I do see we do have a telecom staff member here in the audience that maybe can provide a little bit more insight on that. Microsoft does offer, or Lync can be used in that manner. It would be a fundamental change to some of our infrastructure. Whether or not we're going to go there, maybe Jason can comment on that. But Microsoft does have basically, Lync could be used as a replacement for your desk phone. It will allow you to take phone calls through the Lync client, whether you're at your desk or signed into your Lync client on a phone or other mobile device, and basically use the data network, do basically a voice over IP call, but then fail over to the cellular network if needed, and that's one of the biggest challenges Microsoft had to overcome, was that phones are considered life safety, right? And so if you're going to advertise and be a phone provider, so to speak, you have to make sure that it's reliable. Because if it's your only method of making phone calls and it's not working, then it becomes a life safety issue. Jason, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, at this point, Lync is not a very good PBX, which is a telephone system. For NDSU, for example, we've got a PBX with about 400 features that are used on campus. To make Lync do that would be extremely expensive. We'd have to add on a bunch of different products for it. There is a pilot going on in UND to integrate Lync with Office 365 on-premise. It's a very small pilot. But at this point, it doesn't look fiscally like a good idea. It's essentially what they call a forklift upgrade. You'd have to replace every telephone instrument and use either a PC or get a VoIP device. And the cost-benefit ratio is just not there right now.
Thank you, Jason. Well, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions about Lync, availability, downloading, installing, problems, questions, training, please contact our help desk. We'll be more than willing to maybe even use Lync to provide that training or support to you. So thank you again. Have a nice day.